Hey everybody, it's me, Steve Schnee, and you are watching the CD Junkie. On this very episode of the CD Junkie, I'm not going to talk about CDs. I should have titled this The Vinyl Junkie, but I don't even have the vinyl of this. I'm just going to talk about it. I'm going to show you the album covers. Look, this is a show that I'm going to put in under my Return of the Living 80s banner. This is a show that I'm going to talk about bands. I don't care how obscure or how popular they are. If they are a band that hit me, that I loved from the late 70s, early 80s, I'm going to talk about it. And on this episode, I'm talking about a band from Bath, England called Interview. Some of you are going to go, who? That's the tough thing about talking about bands like this. Now, Interview, incredible band. The only reason I could think that they actually did not have much success, especially here in the States, is because you could not pigeonhole them at all. There was a time period in the late 70s, 78, 79, where these bands would come out and you couldn't call them new wave, you couldn't call them rock, you couldn't call them pop. They were a mixture of everything, but they were so hard to pigeonhole that the new wave kids thought it was too pop, the pop kids thought it was too rock, the rock kids thought it was too new wave, and it's just that vicious cycle over and over again. The band Interview featured Jeff Stars on vocals, Pete Allerhand on lead guitar, Alan Brain on rhythm guitar, Manny Elias on drums, and on the first album, which was called Big Oceans, there was a bass player by the name of Phil Crowther. And the album was produced by Colin Thurston, who would later go on to produce Duran Duran, Talk Talk, Landscape, and some other, more guitar-oriented bands as well. Now, Interview is a guitar-oriented band, but like other bands around that time period, let's say Sniffin' the Tears, Dire Straits, Flash in the Pan, Interview. These are bands that had a very unique sound. They just could not fit in any category. Great songs and great bands, but could not fit in a category. Now, luckily for Dire Straits, they wiggled their way out of that because, when you listen to something like Sultans of Swing off of that first Dire Straits album, it sounded like nothing that was on the radio. That's the same thing with Sniffin' the Tears, with Flash in the Pan, and with Interview. Interview was wholly unique. Absolutely. Nobody sounded like them. They didn't sound like anybody else. I mean, Jeff Stars, his vocal, it just had a soulfulness to it, but it also had bits of like Van Morrison and Mick Jagger, and then the band's dynamic was incredible. It was very much pop music, rock music, but there were prog elements in it. There was soul buried deep within there. Now, the first album that I was talking about just a few moments ago, Big Oceans, came out in 1979, produced by Colin Thurston. Oh, it's spacious, and it's warm, and it's unique, and the songs just jump out at you, but the arrangements do too. You had Pete Allerhand and Alan Brain on guitar playing completely different things, which the Stones would do, obviously. So it added sort of a thickness, but there were so many layers in their music that, oh man, it's really hard to get into talking about them because I'm going to have to play you some music, and I'm going to do that in just a few moments. So, because they only had 2 albums, so you're not going to have to sit through a long story here. But that first album was so incredible. I remember, back in the day, I bought all this new wave stuff, and Interview came out. I thought, I can't tell what this sounds like. This looks cool. I am going to buy this, and I bought it. Blew my mind. Incredible. But then I was lucky because I didn't have to wait long for another album, because a year later, out comes their second album. Now, here in the U.S., it was just called Interview, and it had a cover that was completely different from the UK cover or the European cover. The European cover was different, and it had a different title. The European title was Snakes and Lovers. So you're looking at the same album, but 2 completely different covers and different album titles. Not confusing. And there was a change in the lineup. Phil Crowther, the bass player, was no longer in the band, and Alfie Agius, or I'm just going to say it's Agius, stepped in as the bass player. And this album, which was produced by Mick Glossop, who produced a lot of great stuff, like Skids and people like that. This album, it wasn't as spacious as Big Oceans, the debut album. But man, the layers on this were incredible. They added more keyboards, like piano. And I think Pete Wingfield played piano or keyboards on the album. But there was, it was very much the same band, but by streamlining their sound a little bit, by not being as spacious. I mean, it still is. It's still wonderful, beautiful, stereo, glorious. Listen to the headphones and cry. I would cry. This stuff was so good. But it was a different beast. And it was more dense. So you had to, swim through more layers, which is really wonderful when you're listening to an album like this. And it was more mature. Their songwriting had just strengthened, and it's just so amazing, incredible. I always told myself back in the days, I thought, if I could write songs, you would think that I'd say, oh, I'd want to write songs like the Beatles. No, if I could take credit for any song in the world, it would be the songs off of both of these interview albums. Oh my God, it is so amazing to connect with this music. And still, first album, Big Oceans, came out in 1979. Second album came out in 1980, and I'm still listening to them, and they still give me goosebumps. They're so filled with amazing music, and a lot of people have never heard them. None of their songs have ended up on CD. Now, there were some unofficial CDs that came out, but you can't buy those on the market. And I don't believe the stuff has come out digitally. I think there might be a SoundCloud account out there that might have some of these songs up there, but I don't know if that's been taken down. But the thing is this stuff is amazing. I mean, it truly, truly is. You may be listening to it right now and going like, what is Schnee going on about? But the thing is that I have lived with these songs for 45 years, and they still thrill me. They still, it's really, really, truly amazing. Now, the band actually, they had demos produced by Peter Gabriel, because Jeff Starrs, that's another person, his voice has a little bit of Peter Gabriel in it as well. But Virgin just didn't know how to market this band. Radio, they just didn't know how to market this band. Well, should we send it to new wave stations, or should we send it to rock stations? They probably tried everything, and there was probably resistance from the people at radio because they couldn't pigeonhole it. And that is what I love about bands, is the fact that, they remain true to who they are, and they don't give in to the whims of the music industry. But that's also to their detriment. All of you should know the band Interview, at least have heard of the band Interview. This stuff should have been on CD. Not one song has ended up anywhere. And it's so absolutely heartbreaking to know that these albums exist. These albums full of passion. These albums that these guys slaved over and put their heart and soul into. And they've just gone by the wayside. You can probably find them in your local record store. I highly recommend you, if you find them, check them out. Now, the interesting thing is, before I play you the music, the bass player, Alfie Agius, who joined the band for the second album, he eventually joined the Fixx. And that is him you hear on the album Reach the Beach. Now, he wasn't on their first album, and he left before Reach the Beach came out. But that's his bass lines. That's his bass on One Thing Leads to Another, Sign of Fire, Saved by Zero, and incredible. But even more than that, Manny Elias, the drummer, became Tears for Fears drummer during, the songs from The Big Chair. So in all those videos, stuff like that, that's Manny Elias from Interview. because both bands were from Bath, England. So right now I'm going to play you a medley. And what this medley is it features just snippets of a few songs, I think 4 songs from each of the 2 albums. So you'll be able to check them out. Now, of course, this is not going to help the band at all. It's not going to help them shift units because, their stuff has been out of print for years. But it will allow you, the viewer, the listener, to connect with another band that I think really matters. Just sit back, relax, give this a listen, and I will see you on the other side.
You didn't have to lie to me. You could have kept me company. You didn't have to lie to me. You could have kept me company. I'm not gonna say that everything is tonight, but I'm wandering in space like a lost kite. God, I need faith. Well, believe in me now. Look out your window. Here come the cavalry. Everything's alright. All I'm gonna do is keep on calling. My heart loves you. All I'm gonna do is keep on falling in love with you. I better stop thinking. Oh, girl. Better stop thinking. Oh, girl. Oh, shipyards, building big boats, big ships sailing on the ocean. I might be the shipyard welder. I might walk across the water. Shipyards, building big boats, big ships sailing on the ocean. I might be the shipyard welder. He'll be hide and seek, counting to 100. My legs feel weak. All I hear is thunder. Hey, I got to find out, where did my girlfriends go? You come to where I hide. You never doubted me at all. If ever someone tried, you were the one, but you're breaking your heart's orders, always crossing borders. We're breaking Monday, you fall in love. It seems so simple. Tuesday, you're out of luck. Turn to the people. To the people, people who wear white. To the people, we're so wrong. To the people, we're out all night. To the people, gonna get stronger. On a day like today, I could help you see. On a day like today, I could help you. So brave and strong. So brave and strong.
Well, that's it. I hope this inspires you to maybe check out the music of Interview. Hopefully it connects you to this band that was so deserving of your attention 40 years ago, but it's never too late to fall in love with the music. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Remember to like, comment, share, subscribe. Ring that bell for future notifications. And until the next time, remember me. I'm Steve Schnee, the CD Junkie.